Nope. This side?
I'm
I think
No.
we're missing one or two.
No. All right, so we just did 30-ish minutes on the other side. We turned the person over, and we're going to start here. And again, eventually, you could change the order. I'm just happy. This is actually going completely the opposite of traditional Thai, where they always start in supine at the feet. So we're doing it completely opposite that. But this reflects much more how I actually practice. So the first technique here, this posterior neck compression, I'm actually, let me show you what my hands are going to look like. They're going to just be under Jessica's body, and I'm actually going to get kind of below the neck to maybe T1, somewhere in there, and I'm going to use the strength of my fingers to create a fulcrum where I'm going to use her body weight to work the tissue. So I'm mainly efforting in that I'm trying to have a strong, stiff finger bridge there, and then letting the tissue soften from there. So you could call what I'm at the upper shoulder to start. Is that okay?
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm going to work pretty much vertebrae by vertebrae back towards me. And you'll just do this to the degree your fingers can tolerate it for now. And I would hold, maybe 5 seconds per position. This really encourages a nice curvature of the cervicals. The pressure is fine still?
Yeah.
Definitely let me know. So I've arrived at the occiput, so that'll be my last one. And the main thing, you want to make sure that your client is as passive as possible, that they're really giving you their head weight. Some people will want to sort of help, and they're diminishing the work by helping, of course. Then I'm going to cup around her ear with my right hand. I'm going to use my left hand, and I'm just going to be directly behind her neck, squeezing both sides, thumb on one side, the other fingers on the other side. So I'm squeezing the tissues that are attaching along the transverse processes. Maybe in Western you do something like this. That's a petrissage. It's like a dry petrissage. I'll do this side too so you can see it. And that same thing, I started down low and I'm working my way up towards the occiput. Same thing, I'll cup around that left ear this time, come from behind, and squeeze.
I'm sorry, my hair.
Yeah. A squeezy kneady thing. Okay, then we're gonna go back. So I would actually go from that squeezing right to this thumb compression of the suboccipitals. I wouldn't go back and forth, but I just wanted to show both sides because folks over here can't see. So we did, those of you that were in trigger point, we did this for the trigger points. Getting into the suboccipital, starting right at the mastoid process there and letting her head fall back a little bit.
So you have your thumb on the mastoid process?
Just behind it.
Okay.
Yeah. And depending on the size of their head, probably 4 different spots that we'll do that on. And you can use your fingers or a tool as an alternative to the thumbs.
What kind of tool?
There's so many, but two that I like. One is it's like a rigid sheath that's thumb shaped that you actually wear on your thumb.
Oh, I
That's a pretty good one because it kind of integrates well. And then another would be the kind they're usually made from like an acrylic where it's like a handle with a little knob on it. I actually made my own tool. I had bamboo growing in my yard and I made one from bamboo
Oh, that's cool.
just because I could, I guess, but I think if the tool is used well, then your client is going to appreciate it rather than resent it. Like if you do it well, they're not going to think, "Oh, you're charging me all this money to use a tool." I don't think. And then one more here. Then I'm switching to my fingers, a couple braced fingertips. I'm going to so I went from lateral to medial, and now I'm going to go medial to lateral, but with my couple fingers braced, I'm going to do circles, pulling and circling into the suboccipitals to sort of finish off that release that I just did. I know a lot of this is hard to see. What I'll do is I'll come around as you're working and do a little bit on each person too. So I actually do all three of those on one side, and then I would switch to the other side. So then I would do the squeeze, the thumbs, and the fingers on the second side like that. Let's actually just pause there.